why energetically healing comes before business strategy. Why energetic healing comes before business strategy. Like, huh? Right? Like, okay, so first of all, I want to talk about, what is business strategy, okay? Business strategy in general is a broad term that looks at the entirety of your business. So the way you operate your business, if you start to have team members, if you have a certain culture, that kind of thing, right? So it's more of the entirety of your business. And then marketing strategies, they go hand in hand with business strategies, and that's usually where we begin. If you're a coach, you begin with like, oh my gosh, how the heck do I get clients, right? And what is a strategy for me to do that, right? So you usually start there. So that's why I kind of want to start with not like the big picture entire business strategy, because that's, a stage where I hope to maybe bring you one day if you come into the coaching program. But for now, most of us are like, how the heck do I get clients, and how the heck do I market effectively so that I can allow those clients to be part of my world and part of my services? Okay, so I want you guys to answer this question, because this is what's going to help you today. Let me know, have you invested in a DIY, do it yourself, marketing online program, like how to market online, how to market your business? Have you invested in that, right? And it could be anything, sometimes we do like these YouTube trainings, sometimes we do Facebook, all these different platforms, right? Instagram trainings, now the new thing is Clubhouse, right? And there's all kinds of stuff, right? There's always these new things, but there's these kind of platforms that help us market our business. And maybe you've done like a business, or online marketing 101, or you learn how to sell yourself online, or maybe there's how to find your like ideal avatar, how to write, copy messaging, all of that, right? Once we start to get onto the online space, we sort of realize, whoa, wait a minute, I kind of like, there's stuff I need to learn here, which is kind of cool because it's all available to you. Okay, that's the beauty, right? Everything is available to you, and it's how you utilize it. So how we utilize this time together is super important, right? Because again, we can read 1,000,000 trillion books about marketing and Facebook, or we can do 1,000,000 trillion trainings, but if we're not actually like taking the time to implement it into our own life experience, then it just becomes more noise, right? So I don't want this to be noise for you. I want this to be like, And most entrepreneurs, everybody that I've researched, they all have these moments in their time scheduled of thinking time. A lot of you who are my clients, like I do a lot of journaling with you guys. Why? Because successful entrepreneurs take the time to contemplate what's happening now, where are they going, where do they want to be, because that is what gives them sort of continues to keep the vision in focus. Because a lot of the times the entrepreneurial journey can be very like emotional, and if we're only seeing through those emotions, it's very hard to actually navigate the ship, because you are the driver of the ship, right? You are the visionary, you're the captain. So the captain has to have like clear lenses, right? So tell me in the comments, I want to know, Claudia, Nicole, Nancy, if you're here, have you invested in some sort of online program, right, that it promised to help you like how to market yourself, and it taught you like maybe how to find your ideal avatar, or like your perfect niche, or how to post constantly and what to post and blah blah blah? Have you done that? Okay, so please let me know if you're here for the replay. I want to know what. Yes, what happened? Okay, so tell me what it was. Yes, thinking time, doing so Nicole says thinking time and doing creates applied knowledge, which is powerful. Yes, right? So it's like we gotta spend some time in reflection. Otherwise, if we're just like, oh my God, we're doing it, and then we burn out, and oh my God, we're doing it, it's like it's very ineffective use of our time, and we're not gonna have fun. So we want to have this, right? So Claudia says she did it, and I was disappointed. Okay, so next question, okay, is if it worked, if some of those trainings worked for you or some of them didn't work for you, I want to know why, right? I want to know why you think it didn't work. So answer the first thing. Again, we're working with here like a free flow form thought. I don't want you guys to like overthink the answer. Why do you think that online marketing program didn't work for you? Okay, write it in the comments. Okay, so Nicole says, yes, the courses showed me a profound lack of clarity. Oh my, I know, right? It's like number one. So Nicole knows that we realize, oh my MG, like what is my actual vision? Is my vision clear for me? Right? Because clarity is key to all of this. If we're going around with murky glasses and trying to apply all of the strategies, it's like you can't really see where you're going, right? Okay, so Claudia says, no, with you in the past. Okay, so I'm not disappointed. Yeah, no. I'm not saying you're disappointed with me, but like the program in the past, okay, there you go. So Claudia says she felt bombarded with information. You see? Bombarded with information. So you might notice something about the trainings I give here. I don't say, well, if you want to market yourself, 1, you must do this. Create content every single week. 2, you must do it consistently. 3, it must be to your ideal avatar. And you're like, huh? What? Huh? Like you're like, oh my God, okay, I have to do all of this. And you're like freaking out. And it's just information, right? But instead of it being information, we want it to be like Nicole says, let's think about this for a second. Okay, let's take a moment here. Why didn't it work? This is important. This is important practice just as a business strategy in itself. Why didn't it work? And what worked about it? Right? Did it show me like it didn't work, but it showed me I wasn't clear, like Nicole said, right? So a more effective way of going about these training is to get into your own head. You can't get into my head, right? I need to know like what's going on with you, right? As your coach, I need to see, why didn't it work for you? So answer in the comments, why didn't it work for you? Why, right? It's really important because otherwise it's just going to be this emotional trauma and it's going to be something in the past. And then every time we think about it, we're like, fuck, blah, blah, right? But it's like, why didn't it work? Right? And then why did some things work and some things didn't? This is such a key, important process to your success. I'm telling you this right now, okay? Because there's so many things you've done that worked, right? And there's so many things that you've done that doesn't work, but then we kind of jumble it all up in this emotional kind of trauma and we just kind of like shove it back there in the closet. So Claudia says, I really feel like your program is eye-opening. It showed me that I wasn't ready to find my niche. I needed to face myself first and felt rushed. Right? So it's like for Claudia, all of a sudden her clarity came with, okay, yeah, I know I'm supposed to do the niche thing, right? That's the marketing strategy that everyone tells you, right? It's like 101. Everyone's like, know your niche, right? Your niche or your niche or however you call it, your avatar, right? And then you're like, but wait a minute, you're doing the thing. And then how come you're doing the thing, you're doing all the things and fuck, why isn't it working? This is the most frustrating thing. And this is what I realize, right? Is that, wait a minute, all these business strategies that I've literally, okay, the only reason why I know is like I've literally been doing the thing or I've been on the online space, doing all my stuff, researching, taking the Facebook, taking the YouTube, taking the Instagram, taking the online courses, all of that stuff, thinking like, this is it, this is finally going to give me that push to make my business expand. And yet there was always something holding me back. Right? Yeah, like like Claudia says, yeah, like what the fuck, right? Right? So Nicole says, I realized it didn't work because of the shame I held on to around the topic. I have the most to teach. I've been doing the inner work and each release comes more clarity. Right? This is the holy grail right there, right? So it's like we start to really, especially because in this space, I'm talking to spiritual entrepreneurs, people who are doing healing work, people who are going on a spiritual journey, people who have, lifetimes of their own spiritual journey, or, they're coaches, or they're going and taking coaching programs or yoga certifications or healing work or massage or body work, all of that stuff that brings us to this place of really realizing, right? Hey, Shades is here in the house, right? And so the other part, wait, there's another question. There's a couple of questions I want to ask before I move forward. Okay, why didn't it work? Okay, yeah, good. I asked the 3 questions about the business strategy. So go back if you're just joining and answer those questions. But the other thing I want to talk about is now energy, right? Because this title is called Why Energetic Healing Comes Before Business Strategy. And specifically for us coaches, hello, for specifically us coaches, we tend to start with online marketing, because we realize, okay, yes, we can kind of do the face-to-face thing, that's great, but how do I kind of reach, more people, right? And so especially nowadays with COVID, it's like, okay, everything is kind of going online. So one of the marketing strategies, one of the strategies that go, business strategies that go is how to market yourself, right? And so why energetic healing comes before business strategy, right? So the question is, well, then, okay, I just explained what business strategy is, but what's energetic healing? Like, what the heck is that, right? And one very simple way of thinking about energy is that it's a force that creates movement, okay? Energy is a force that creates movement. And in our program, in our 8-week coaching program, we look at what's going on energetically in the physical body, right? What's going energetically, what's moving, what's the moving force in the body, what's the moving force in the mind, and what's the moving force in our actual energetic structure, yeah? And so when you start to look at that, what you start to realize is, one, like Nicole said, we have certain patterns, right? So in our physical body, we literally have certain patterns, right? We have certain things, unconscious things that we do. We literally have mental patterns, like, oh my God, I hate this eyebrow, like, what, I don't know what. You have some kind of pattern, mental pattern, and then you also have, yes, emotion. Energy is a force that creates movement. Yeah, energy is emotion in movement, right? So then we have like our energy patterns, right? And the thing is, as human beings, we have a negative bias. So the thing that's gonna run the show most of the time is our negative physical patterns, our mental physical patterns, and our energy physical patterns. And when I say negative, it just means something that you realize, maybe that pattern is not serving me anymore. Maybe this is not the force that I need to go through. So it's like in a physical body, if I were constantly like moving around really quickly and oh my gosh, I'm cleaning everything up, and realize like, whoa, maybe that energy pattern in my body is not serving me, because like I'm just cleaning, the kitchen, I'm just chopping vegetables, and like I'm like coming from this like survival mode. So maybe that energy pattern is not serving me anymore, right? Maybe there's an energy pattern where you're too much forward. You're like, oh my God, I have to do that, and I have to do that. Or like you're like, oh God, I'm so tired at that. Everything is so draining. Or you're kind of a little bit all over the place. You're like, ooh, let me look at that. Ooh, let me look at like every shiny object, right? Or maybe your actual energy is constantly moving forward. It's constantly, like we did an assessment, one of our clients, her energy was circling around her head and literally expanding everywhere. So she constantly felt drained, right? So your energy can be like, ooh, all this over there, or all over the place. And so how can we take those patterns, see them, because we have to see that we're doing them. Often we just kind of go again with that driving force unconsciously, right? If we're used to like, oh my God, survival mode, when I'm like taking care of the cooking and the cleaning and all that stuff, we don't realize, whoa, right? that energy pattern actually is not serving you. Or maybe it's like you're moving too slow. Sometimes we can move moving too fast, and sometimes it's just like, I'm not gonna move, right? Like that also drains your energy, right? When you're not allowing your body to kind of do what it needs to do. Maybe your body needs to dance today. Maybe your mind needs to be like, I'm so beautiful today. Maybe your energy, and what we teach is bring your energy down so that you can allocate your energy centered. Okay, so I hope that's an explanation to what energy is. Okay, so laugh out loud. I feel like you've been watching me the last few days. It's leveled out now, but geez, I know that feeling. Taking care of everything, but what is most important, right? And the thing is, the antidote, Nicole, is not that, it's not that complex. I always say deep does not have to be complex. So like literally, I was in my kitchen cutting the vegetables. I'm like, oh my God, I have to do all of this stuff, right, for my kids, blah, blah, blah. And then I have to work, and then I have my clients, and I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And then I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like, and then I started swaying my hips and singing Bob Marley in my head. I'm like, all right. So then that physical energetic force was way, way, way more sustainable than like, right? And so you start to realize like, oh, okay, this movement, this force is much more fulfilling for me, right? So the question I want to ask you guys, and I think it's going to be the key, right, to unlocking, because if you have things, and who doesn't, right, that are sabotaging your business unconsciously, like we all do, right? Yes, and that's it, Claudia. She's my inspiration for Bob Marley. It's like she got me into listening to Bob Marley while I cook. You see? She's my teacher, right? She's my guru. So there you go. You brought me a lot of joy, Claudia. You see that? This is why this is such a powerful exchange, right? It's like I took one little thing Claudia told me. She's like, I listen to Bob Marley when I cook. I'm like, oh yeah? Okay, let's do that. And lo and behold, it's like this amazing, energetic, place where I feel really fulfilled and feel really nourished and feel like, wow, I get to cut my organic broccoli. This is freaking awesome, right? Okay, so the question I want to ask you guys is, when you feel stressed, especially when you feel stressed when you think about your business, what is the chronic emotion that comes up? So let me know in the comments, what is the chronic emotion that comes up? Okay, so take a moment. And first impression. Okay, so we're working with our subconscious here. We're not working with, what is the chronic emotion that comes up for you when you think about your business, or when you're feeling like, because we have our ups and downs, right, as entrepreneurs, and we're like, oh my God, I'm like, this is like, what am I doing? I should just stop what I'm doing, right? Neck tension, nice. Okay, so that's a chronic physical thing. Okay, really good observation, very good observation. So especially when you sway your hips, Claudia is a yoga teacher, it travels up to the actual cervical spine, which is your neck, right, and it releases that tension. So our Bob Marley technique, we just need to apply it a little bit more there, Claudia. Okay, and then all of a sudden the neck is like, okay, right? Simple. I swear with frustration. All right? So it's kind of like anger, right? And that's usually when things are like, right here, and they're coming out. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing and oh my God. It just means, maybe this is not the most effective, but it is a place where I'm processing, right? Yes. Okay, so Claudia's chronic emotion is anger, frustration. Okay, Nicole says worthiness, especially when I have a string of things happening in the right direction. Right? It's like when things are going good, it's almost like, it can't be, true, right? There's some force, energetic force. Here's where you're going, and this energetic force, this is why I'm telling you guys, this chronic emotion is your key. Okay, this is your key to seeing, this is the pattern. This is like the observational part of us. watching ourself, watching our human self, our soul living through this human body and saying, oh, interesting. I have this, every time I get closer to, my vision, ooh, I have this place of like, me? Who am I? Who am I to be doing what I'm doing, right? And so what's that energetic force, right, that's coming in between, right? And so with Claudia's, hers is like that frustration, and then probably that frustration turns into, it's so tiring. Do you see? So one of the things that you want to start to realize is that when we have these physical things, when we have these mental things, it's actually a drain in our energy. Do you see that? Right? So then that means that we're not going to have the energy to like show up the way we want to, because that energetic kind of thing that shows up as a chronic emotion is constantly eating away at the energy that where we want to go. Okay, so good. So now you guys, this is what I promised you guys during this live, is to start to identify the chronic emotion that sabotages your business. Great. So now we know it. Now it's front and center. Now we can own it. It's like, yeah, I get freaking angry and then I get tired. Yeah, it's like I feel like, oh my God, I'm not enough, right? And so here's how this works. So we have a client, and her thing was doubt. She'd like, okay, yeah, I know my niche. Oh, and then she'd try to like market herself, and it's like, oh no, wait, I don't think I know my niche. Oh, I'm confused. I don't know. Her chronic emotion was confusion, doubt. It's like, so every time she would go towards where she knows she's supposed to go, like that business strategist that tells you like, intellectually, yeah, this is what you have to do, and you go towards it, the energy literally is sabotaging and stopping you, right? So that is why this energy needs to be seen. So it's like, oh, okay, here you are, I see you, thank God, right? And then it needs to be cleared. So for her, and it's like, we kind of want to know, how did this imprint? Where did this imprint in her life, right? And so for our client, she started to realize, okay, I have all this doubt. And she's like, okay, she's doing all the things. She's a very intelligent, smart person, applying all the business strategies, doing her niche, doing the funnel, posting consistently, all that shit that they tell you, right? And you're like, why isn't it working? What the F, right? And so then we went back, right? And we did a process, what we do in our program called the 3-level clearing. And we looked at how did that show up physically, right? So when we have a chronic emotion, it shows up a certain way. So start to observe that, guys. Start to observe how, because it will give you clues, like, ooh, that energy that drains me is coming on. Okay, how does it show up mentally, right? What's the mental patterns? Like, oh my gosh, like, who are you? What do you, you have a certain voice, you have a certain story that you think it sounds so much like yours, but along the way, somebody gave you that, right? Somebody gave you this story that wasn't yours to begin with, and it has literally imprinted in your mind, and you literally see it. It's the force that's driving you unconsciously, and you see it. Right? And energetically, again, all the energy, usually it's all, it's like there's not enough energy in the physical body, in the mind, in our physical body, in our energy to kind of like sustain, the trials and tribulations of being an entrepreneur, because this is not something where it's like we do it and we know the formula and it's like it works out. It's like, no, we do it and we're like, okay, that worked, that didn't work. You see? That worked, that didn't work. So we're constantly, as entrepreneurs, coming through this journey of like, what worked here? What didn't work? And we're constantly either one of my coaches, one of my best coaches, Geeta Nadkarni, says, we're either winning, and I'm sure she got this from other coaches too, we're either winning or we're learning, right? So we're constantly on this learning process, and that's the beauty of being an entrepreneur. It takes you through this like amazing journey of like constantly self-growth, right? So her thing was, go back to my story of my client, her thing was that she'd always have doubt. And then we went back and she realized that her parents used to constantly fight, and her mom would kick her dad out because her dad was an alcoholic. And so then what would happen, her natural ability to heal, she would try to utilize that. So she'd go out to dad and kind of like, see how she can help him, her natural way of just helping. And he would give her this message like, well, yeah, but that's not enough. Go back to your mom. And she would go back to her mom, saying her mom was hurting. And so she would naturally offer her natural healing abilities, and mom would be like, oh, no, go away. And so basically the message was, it's not enough, right? You're trying to help me, but it's not enough, right? So you see, all of a sudden, this energy of confusion of like, oh, you dad, mom, and every time I try to help, it's not enough. So that energy of confusion imprinted in her physical body, right? It's like, right? It's somehow imprinted in her mind, right? Unconsciously in the back of her mind, right? Where she couldn't really see it anymore. It just kind of became the glasses that she started to wear, the lens she started to wear, where it's like, it's not enough. No, you don't know what you're doing, right? You don't know what you're doing. You can't help me, right? And so then every time she would go to do the she would fill in the avatar, the niche, all that stuff, that voice would come up and say, right? It's not enough. You don't know what you're doing. So this energy of confusion, and actually that energy of confusion was kind of in some way a safe place in some way, because it was something she knew. She wasn't taught anything else. So it was something she knew. So it's almost like the reason why we stay stuck is because that energetic pattern, that chronic pattern, is something that we know. So we sort of like, it's kind of like being in your bed and you should be outside in the sun, but you kind of like, oh, but my bed feels so good, right? Or like eating that comfort food that you're like, I'm not actually hungry, but it's like, but it's so good, right? Or like, I don't know what, right? There's these things that you know, right? And you know it well. So you sort of like, it's the quote unquote safer place to stay, right? So that's where it F's us up every time, where we intellectually know. It's like, I know this energetically drains me, but why do I stay here? Why do I stay here? And that's why. It's because this place, right? This place, and also Nicole, when you were saying like worthiness, every time you kind of go outside your growth edge, every time you get outside of that, it's like, oof, that energy like, oh, wait a minute, we're not comfortable there. Remember we are that place where, whoever taught us, like, you're not allowed, right? You're not worth that, right? That message comes back, and that's like, oh yeah, that's like underneath the covers. Oh, I know that place. I'm gonna stay here. I'm gonna hide here, right? And so then the courage and the work and the practice is to be able to allow ourselves to move outside of it, where the places where it's unknown, where it's like, what if I show up and I speak my truth? That is totally scary. And anything that is important to you, anything that is dear to you, anything that is your deep soul's truth, right? Anytime you allow that to come out into the world, it is a scary place, because this is the thing that you hold so dearly. This is the truth in your heart that you hold so dearly. And so there's part of you that feels like you need to protect that very sacred part in you, right? So when you learn, like we learn in our program, to really trust that part of you that can come out and play, that part of you that has that inner child in you, that has that voice, that feels that shame, that feels that abandonment, that feels that rejection, that feels that anger, that feels all of those feelings, right? When she comes out, in our program, we allow you to hold her, right? Instead of repressing her and instead of letting her run the show, because that's what kind of happens, right? The frustration, the worthiness, we're kind of allowing that unconscious part of us to run the show, because she did a good job when she was younger, because that's what she knew. She's like, oh, I better like shut up, right? It actually did create safety, because, especially for example, in my family, where my dad was a, alcoholic, I had to, sometimes play small so he didn't notice me. I had to sometimes not speak up, right? When I really did want to. I had to, just because it was a place to protect myself, because otherwise I know I'd get like the sort of the wrath of their own unconscious, you know, trauma, right? And so, let me just put my nose, it's leaking. I'm not crying today. I might cry, you never know. But anyway, so that part of me, right, it would often drive the bus. So same thing with me. It's like I started to discover that I really like this this business model. So I've done so much research. How to, am I going to do a membership online? Am I going to do a blog? Am I going to do a podcast? Am I going to be a YouTuber? Like, I've explored all these different avenues. Okay, so after exploring all of these different avenues, I realized, the business model that I find most simple, because I like simple and effective, is being able to charge what I do, my expertise, at a premium, right? So that means taking your service, putting it into a program, and charging 3, 5, 8, 10 plus K for your program. Because I realized in myself, it's like, wait a minute, I work with people one-on-one already, and I create these massive life-altering results. And so tell me in the comments what it is that you do. What is your life-altering result? Because that's what people are paying you for. They're not paying you because you're like this Instagram babe. They're not paying you because you have 1,000 certificates. They're not paying you because you have a fancy website. They're not paying you because you know what you're talking about. They're paying you because you have an experience that only you have. Not that I have, that you have. Okay, so that I want you guys to start to really see that. You have a very unique experience, which is your asset. Which is the asset that is already in your pocket now. Not, oh my God, when I get another 1,000 healing, or go to the Himalayas and meditate for 1,000 years, or get yet another training. Hey, I always do coaching and training. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's not what makes me worthy. It's not what makes me ready to coach. Okay? What makes me ready to coach is my courage to say, hey, this is what experience I've gone through. This is what I've learned. This is my truth. And those who resonate with that are like, yeah, right, that sounds like, so in the premium space, right, I realized like, wow, this is much more sustainable than doing this dollar per hour thing, because I was doing like, private clients, back to back to back. And I realized like, this is not sustainable, physically, mentally, energetically, spiritually wise. This is not sustainable for me. It's not sustainable for my clients because I'm showing up half burnt. It's not sustainable for my family. I did a whole other training. Why charging more makes it affordable for everyone. So if you haven't seen that training, I highly recommend you go back and watch that, because that starts to illuminate why charging more allows you to show up fully, allows you to serve people like the way I'm doing right now, completely free. There's no charge here, and I'm giving everything. Like, it took me, I contemplate what I'm talking about for the whole week. So it's not like I'm just like showing up here and just like randomly talking about shit. It's like I'm talking about things that are actually going to move the needle for you guys, and I'm doing it in a way it's like, yes, guys, let's do this, right? Let's make this place, this time that leverages our energy in the most expansive way. And so I'm just going to read Nicole. She says, laugh out loud. My clients have improved their confidence, moved towards their goals, appreciated their asses, and have better sex. Oh, I'm super proud of the growth of my partners in co-creation. Beautiful, right? So when you start to see, okay, that's my unique experience, right? That's Nicole's unique experience, right? Then you start to realize, whoa, okay, I have these valuable assets that somebody else, there's always somebody a little bit behind you. There's always somebody a little bit ahead of you, and there's always somebody sort of like at your same level. So just because you feel like, oh my God, I don't know anything, like the littlest things that the years and years and years of experience that you have, somebody's like, I have no clue, dude, like tell me all about it, right? That is your expertise, that's your value. And so what people are looking for Okay, so Claudia says, I love you, Jamie. I need to do now. We'll keep you posted. My journaling, the pain and bliss. Oh yes. Okay. So, so Claudia is one of our clients, and she is doing an exercise that one of my teachers taught me, Gita Nakarni, how to really look at the pain and bliss of your clients. Because fundamentally, when you start to know people at that deep level, then you can serve them at that deeper level. And she's going to go teach now. So have fun teaching. And I hope this gave you what you needed, and trust that whatever it is you needed to receive today, you received it. Okay, so thank you for your energy. So what I realize, right? What I realize is that this model, right, allowed me to do what I'm doing now, but in a much more sustainable and expansive way. It helps. Yes, girl. Good. Thank you. That's what Claudia says. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. So, and I'm going to continue my Bob Marley exercise that you have taught me. So, in my process, in my journey of, doing all all of these workshops, all of these trainings about social media marketing, how to sell yourself, how to write good copy, how to brand yourself, what's your niche, how to make a funnel, YouTube SEO, Instagram, algorithm, all of that stuff. What I realize is one of the business models that I truly find super simple yet effective, and it makes it effective for everybody, and I'm able to give to my clients at 1,000%. I'm able to come here and enjoy myself. Literally, it's fun to be here, and every time I show up with a client, I'm like, give me what you got. What is it? Bring it on, because I'm excited, because I'm doing exactly what it is I want to do, right? And if I want to give to, let's say if I want to hire a team, or if I want to give to people across the world who need my help, with this model you can, right? And the thing is, it was all laid out for me. It's like I've done so many trainings where they just told me how to do it, right? I even had like a call, and the guy's just like, just charge $9,000, Jamie, for your program. You have a scarcity mindset. And I'm like, okay, thanks, great. Now what the heck do I do with that, right? And the key that I realized that was missing is this energetic healing piece, right? Healing ourselves physically, healing ourselves mentally, healing ourselves energetically. Because you can have all the smartest business strategies in the world, but that driving force, right, the thing that makes things move physically, mentally, energetically, if that chronic emotion is the one that's constantly driving the bus unconsciously, because you don't really realize, right? And again, I'm telling you all of this stuff, but it's very difficult to see these deep wounds on your own. And so myself included, I also have my own coaches, and my coach, what she taught me about moving from dollar per hour to premium is that I had these limiting beliefs, and I would always diminish my chronic kind of patterns. I would always diminish what I would say, right? Because I had that message, that unconscious message that, no, you're not allowed to speak up. No, you're not allowed to be big. No, you need to stay small. No, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know how to feel, like if you're not feeling well or not. And you can't give us, advice on like, health and wellness. No. Even to this day, my family thinks I'm like a nutball with all like whatever, the way I eat and what I do and all that. And so there's that kind of unconscious message, right? That, no, you're not allowed. No, you're not permitted. No, you're supposed to stay small, right? It's this permission. And I have another training, when are you going to give yourself permission to charge more? You can go into that training as well. And so what I realized is that I had to heal that piece, because I had all of the training. I had, like, how do you sell high ticket? What do you do? How do you set up a sales call? I had all of that. People were telling me my problem, right? I had these, like, very masculine macho men telling me your problem is this, and it's like, okay, great, right? But I didn't get that piece, or they didn't give me the piece I needed, right? Where it was like, what's that kind of unconscious chronic emotion that constantly sabotages you when you want to move forward? Because the answers are right there, you know where you're going, right? So that's why I'm teaching this to everybody now, where it's like, right, I've had years and years and years of experience in the healing space, right? And I also have years of experience in, figuring out this business stuff. And for the longest time, I never talked about the business stuff because, that was another thing where I was ashamed to speak about wanting to make money, wanting to expand, wanting to market myself, right? Wanting to go onto this entrepreneurial journey that was very exciting for me, wanting to create a business in exactly the way I wanted it to be, right? So I had to kind of let go and clear and process all of that. And that's what we do in our program. That's the step number one. We clear the spiritual house physically, mentally, energetically, and emotionally.